Welcome to our YouTube channel, where we embark on a journey to explore groundbreaking advancements in accessibility and technology. This week, we have a special guest, Welby Broaddus, the chief owner and operator of Broaddus Business Solutions, a business consulting firm. Welby's inspiring journey as a visually impaired businessman drives his mission to empower the less fortunate and those without a voice. In this episode, Welby will share insights from his book, Leading Blind Without Vision: The Struggles of Visually Impaired and Blind Individuals That Led to Their Success. Subscribe now and stay tuned for an enlightening journey into this important topic.
Catherine, or TSO.
Hello. Hey. Okay.
So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us for yet another Allied Event series. And for those of you who are new, we have Allied Event series every Friday. And I am Farheen Zubair, your Allied project manager slash host for today, slash your assistant signing in.
So many roles signing in.
So let me start by introducing our very special guest, or shall I call him the author of the newly published book, Leading Blind Without Vision. Let us welcome Welby C. Broaddus. He is a friend of Mona's. Mona is our allied director with Dr. Sandra Shufflebin, who took this great initiative to bring about a change in our university. As you know, we always make our events more accessible with an ASL interpreter. So let us welcome Valerie. Hello, Valerie. Hope you're here today. Can everyone see our yes? Okay, and those of you who are present online and in person, please do let me know if you want any further assistance. So let's get started with the event. It's a true pleasure to have Welby here. Welby is the chief owner and the operator of the business consulting firm, Broaddus Business Solutions. As a visually impaired businessman, he hopes to use his influence to help the less fortunate and those without a voice. Welby is here to talk about leading blind without vision, the struggles of visually impaired and blind individuals that lead to their success, to educate business owners, executives, and HR professionals on the benefits of hiring individuals who are blind and visually impaired. Welby enjoys travel shows, and he enjoys traveling too, where he gets new ideas for his new adventure. He hopes to use this book to help educate the business community about the qualities and skill sets that the blind and visually impaired community can bring into the workplace. Before I go on spoiling for you, let us all allow Welby to talk more about this. Welby, the floor is yours. You can start talking.
All right, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys for having me. I'm gonna share my screen. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay.
No, Welby. I'm just kidding.
I'm
I'm not kidding.
Well, you know, Mona, for those who can't see, I guess. I knew I was gonna get some jokes from you today. And I want to thank you guys for having me, especially Mona. Thanks for telling me about this. I'm really honored and thrilled to be presenting to your group, and I really appreciate that. You've been such a good friend of mine since I met you. We got on very well all the time, and I appreciate that. Yeah, and my talk, the title of my talk today is Leading Blind Without Vision, advocating for the blind and vision impaired. And I am Welby Broaddus. So this lecture is my early life. So I got a picture of me from a baby picture and then my high school senior picture, but I can't stand, but my assistant wanted me to use this picture, so I decided I'll use the picture. So I was born July 19th, 1967. It was a Wednesday. You probably wonder how I know it was a Wednesday. Google told me that when I did some research. So, and I was born at Akron General Hospital here in Akron, Ohio. And any basketball fans out there?
Right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little history about that. So this hospital is very significant for two of the best all-time basketball players in the NBA. LeBron James and Steph Curry were both born at this hospital. So I feel honored to be born at the same hospital that they was born at. So when I was born, when I was doing some research for my book, I was talking to my mom, and she said she believed I was born premature. So she said she wasn't sure, she didn't remember, but she does remember that when she went home for her maternity stay, I had to stay 10 extra days in the hospital. And the reason I had to stay 10 extra days was because my lungs wasn't fully developed. So they want me to put me in an incubator. So I want to research this because I also was told that the reason that I'm vision impaired is because they believe I was exposed to too much oxygen while I was in the incubator. And I did some research on that and come to find out that that is a possibility based on the research that I found. So basically, I can tell you that I wasn't sure if I was born vision impaired, but I do know that I left the hospital vision impaired. And my diagnosis is optic atrophy and nystagmus. So optic atrophy is my optic nerve is severely damaged to the point that I'm vision impaired. Actually, I'm considered to be legally blind, and that's in both of my eyes. And the nystagmus is I can't control the muscle in my left eye, so it tends to move on its own left and right. And so that doesn't allow me to see well on my left eye. I'm only using my right eye to see. So when I came home from the hospital, I had to go see an eye doctor, which is a specialist at Cleveland Clinic. And I had to always see a specialist all my life, even today. But I didn't know that kid. I knew I wore glasses, but I thought my vision was just bad, like everybody else who wore glasses. Because I had family members who wore glasses. People in society was wearing glasses. So I didn't think my vision was that bad until it was time for me to go to school. So my doctor at the Cleveland Clinic, they suggested to my parents that I need to go to a specialized school for the blind and vision impaired. And at that time, my parents, they were a young couple. I was 5. My brother was he was 3, and we just moved into our home. So they really couldn't afford for me to go to that school specialized for the blind and vision impaired because it was just like going to a private school. There was tuition involved. So I ended up going to regular traditional public school. And so when I got to school, elementary school was fine because, it's more hands-on. You do activities, how you learn. So there was no attention on me being vision impaired. There were kids to be curious, like would ask questions, things like that. But there was nobody that stood out. Nothing stood out about me being different from the rest of my classmates. It wasn't until I got into junior high school, which is now middle school. When I was in school, called junior high school, things got a little different. In middle school, that's when kids start to self-identify, peer pressure goes on, puberty goes on, they want to fit in with certain groups. And so what would happen is kids would pick on me because of my vision and make jokes and things like that. That was going on. And also my grades was slipping because, once you get in middle school, it's like a traditional classroom. You sit at a desk and you write stuff on the chalkboard or the overhead projector. And I really couldn't see what written on the board or the overhead, even as I sat in the front row. So my grades dropped. So I had a counselor who really helped me out in junior high school. Her name is Carol Sharon. So if you guys know her, I'm trying to find her. I want to thank her for everything she did for me. So she started wondering what was going on. So she called my parents in, they met, and she was saying, Welby's grades have slipped. I noticed the grades is always good in elementary school, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And my parents thought it was just me transitioning from elementary to junior high school. But my counselor thought it was something more than just that. So she ended up talking to my teachers, and what she found out is my teachers saying that, when he takes notes from the board, he's not getting all the notes. And I just wondered, can he see what's written on the board or the overhead? And they also noticed that when I was reading books, I always had to put the book real close to my eyes to see what was written. And so what she did, she ended up calling Visual Service for the Vision Impaired. And that's a state agency through the Vocational Rehabilitation Services through the state of Ohio. And they assist individuals who are blind and vision impaired with getting employment and getting resources they need to help get a good education. So they set this up and things like that. So my parents and we met with the counselor, basically did an assessment of what I needed. And so, and then they're gonna come back and just say, what they able to provide for me to make sure I qualify for the service. So I had to get an eye exam to show that I am vision impaired, things like that. I remember this day as it was yesterday. So I was getting up one morning, ready for school. My mom said, today, you don't have to ride the bus home from school today because me and your dad got to come up today and meet with the counselors from visual service for vision impaired and also Mr. Roan to identify what they're gonna provide for you to help you out in school. I was nervous. And I was nervous for the fact that I didn't know what they're gonna provide for me because I didn't want to get anything that would stand out, let my fellow classmates know that I'm vision impaired because they're already talking about me already. So when I went to school that day, I got a call slip down to go to Mr. Roan's office. When I got down there, my mom, my dad, the counselor from VSVI, and Mr. Roan, my guidance counselor, they was all there. They was having a good time. They was laughing. They came with some resources for me and things like that. So the counselor for VSVI, he said, "Hey, we got you some visual aids, some magnifiers, and things like that to use." And then he said, "We also got you some large print books." Now, mind you, back then, large print books weren't like large print books today. The large print book that he showed me was as big as a laptop. And my heart dropped because I said, "Oh my God." And then so I said, what came out of my mouth in front of him I said, "You guys want me to walk into class with these big books?" I said, "They already talk about me now, so they're really gonna talk about me." And so everyone in the room, their mouth just dropped because they didn't think about that aspect. And so they sat there, it's kind of quiet. I'm crushed. I'm also wanted to cry. And then my counselor said, "Well, I got an idea. You take the large print books home with you, so you can do your homework and you can study from, and just use your regular books in class so nobody won't talk about you." And so that's what I did through junior high school. And it got me through and everything worked out. So it's time for me to go to high school. So I get to high school in the 10th grade. I pretty much didn't have the same support from my counselor like I did with Mr. Ronan in junior high school. But I was at a point now, I felt comfortable to ask my teachers for, like, can they make a copy of the notes to give to me and things like that. And so they would do that. Without any support from my counselor, I made it all the way up to my senior year. So I don't know if you guys remember your senior year, you meet with your counselor and they ask you what's your plans after high school. Now, mind you, at this point, I got confidence in myself. I know what I want to do. So my plan was to go to Kent State University and I'm going to major in computer science. That was my plan. So when I go in and meet my counselor, she says, "Okay, Welby, what's your plans after high school?" And I said, with no hesitation, "I'm going to Kent State. I'm going to major in computer science." And my counselor's rebuttal back with no hesitation was, "You're not college material. You need to just go find a job." And when she said that to me, I was crushed and in shock. And I was saying to myself, I said, "I can't believe this lady just told me I was not college material and just go find a job." And I was saying to myself, I definitely got to go to college now, and I definitely got to prove this lady wrong, and that's what I'm going to do. And mind you, I'm in her office, and we talked about some other things while I was in there, and to this day, I can't even tell you what we talked about because when she talked, it was just like the Peanuts parents talking, womp 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 womp. I couldn't hear anything she said at that point. So, and what I did through life, I find things that motivate me. So this one thing here motivated me to go to college. And so I end up going to college. And now what she did get right, I didn't go to Kent State and I did not get a degree in computer science. But I did end up going to the University of Akron and I got 2 degrees. I got a Bachelor of Science in Technical Education and I got Associates of Applied Business Management Technology. And I'm gonna show you how things work, how God works, so how God make things happen. So my first job after I graduated from university was getting a job back at the University of Akron. And I worked in this program called the Advancing Up Program. And what this program was, it was a welfare to work program they had back in the day. And what you do, you help individuals who are receiving government assistance get their basic skills up to either enroll into the university or get gainful employment. And I was hired to teach basic math to the participants. Also, through this department, they had a pilot program with the Akron Public Schools and the university where we brought special ed students on campus, and I would teach employability skills to them in the morning. And then in the afternoon, they work in different departments to get some work experience so they can get jobs once they graduate from high school. And so the high school that we worked with was called Central Howard, and this high school was in the middle of campus, so the kids could just walk back and forth. And so when I was doing this program, so I was the liaison for the University of Akron, and they had a liaison for Akron Public Schools, and we would meet once a week. And he said, hey, I want you to come down to the school because I want you to meet the kids' teachers and meet the guidance counselor. Now, this is how things work. So I go down to the school, I meet the teachers, and then I go meet the guidance counselor. Guess who the guidance counselor was? It was my guidance counselor that told me I was a counselor material. So this went full circle. I ended up getting 2 degrees, and I go back to see her, basically to show her that you were wrong. Now, I didn't never throw her in her face because she knew who I was and she knew what she said. It was more gratifying for me because that was always my goal, to prove to her that I am college material, and I did in that aspect. So while I was working in this program, through the Advancing Up program, they ended up losing funding, so they cut the program out. So I end up getting a job as a career specialist with the JOG program, and JOG stands for Jobs for Higher Graduates Program. And they're part of a national organization called JAG, which is Jobs for American Graduates. And what this program is a school to work program for at-risk youth. And so I was hired to work at one of the high schools here in Akron as a career specialist. And I helped the seniors. I teach employability skills to them, also help them either get their high school diploma or GED. And once they graduate, I help them either get a job, get into college, or enlist to the military. And also there's a 1-year follow-up after they graduate to make sure they're on track to what they want to do in life. And I did that job for 14 years. And my current job that I'm doing right now, I'm a case manager here at the Summit County Juvenile Court here in Akron, Ohio, in the Misdemeanor Services Department. And what I do on this job now, I go to court with the kids and the families, and I make recommendations to the court on kind of service that we can give this kid and the family so that he'll come back into the criminal justice system again. And also we assist the family in any needs they may have as well. And I love this job. It's very rewarding because I'm really giving back to the kids that I was when I was a kid, because I was an at-risk youth as well. And also, I'm a small business owner. My business is called Broaddus Business Solutions. It's a consulting company where I assist individuals in turning their business dreams into a reality by helping them get their business registered with their state that they live in or they want to have their business located in, assisting doing business plans, marketing plans. Also, I'm offering a new service now where I help HR professionals learn how to onboard individuals with disabilities, especially those who are blind and vision impaired, into the workplace. And I do public speaking, things like this, like I'm doing for you guys. My inspiration. So, I had a perspective that I was bitter with companies when I go to job interviews, and I know that I killed the interview, and they still wouldn't give me a chance once they found out that I'm vision impaired. And I'm gonna give you an example one. So I remember I was working at job about 8 years, and I saw that the company's going somewhere that I feel they shouldn't. So I feel like maybe it's time for me to leave. So I started looking for other employment opportunities. And I found a job pretty much doing the same thing that I was already doing for the JOG program. It's a national organization. I'm not going to say the name. And I said, oh, that's the same thing I'm doing. I'm applying for this job. I get called in for an interview. You know how you go through an interview, you can tell like you're just killing it. The person is really into what you're talking about. The lady's on the edge of her seat. She's taking notes. asking me ideas. I said, oh yeah, I got this. But here's the question they always ask you. So Welby, tell me something about yourself that I don't know. So I was always upfront about me being vision impaired because I want to get a job and blindside the company once they hire me and they find that I'm not, and they really don't want me there. So I disclosed, I said, well, I'm vision impaired. I'm considered to be legally blind. I don't have a driver's license. I won't be able to get a driver's license, but that never affected me from doing my job. Her whole demeanor changed. I don't know if you guys ever played the game Pac-Man. It was just like getting caught by a ghost. Game over. And I was devastated. And so so what I started doing, I would start sending rejection letters from these type of employers that I knew I could get jobs, and I would put it right next to my resumes. So I would, athletes pregame, like to get ready for the game. So I would pregame before interviews. So I would sit at my house before I go to an interview, and I read the rejection letters to motivate me to be good in an interview. And that's what I would do. So I had that point of view for a while. Then when I started doing my research for the book, I started to see a new perspective on things. So I realized that, I see a little bit where these companies coming from when they're trying to hire somebody blind and vision impaired. The difference between being blind and vision impaired and say have another disability, like for example, let's say that I'm confined to a wheelchair and somebody else was confined to a wheelchair. We got two different disabilities, but the main concern for the company is getting us to our workstation so we can do our job have access with our wheelchairs. So that might include having an on-ramp to get into the building and provide an elevator so we get to the floor that we work on. But when it comes to someone who's blind and vision impaired, there's many different eye conditions, and we all don't have the same accommodations that we may need. For example, like me, my accommodations I need large print, where somebody else might need a Braille scanner or something like that to be able to do their job, or JAWS or Zoom text or something like that. So I got that perspective, but that still doesn't make it right for them not to give us a chance in employment. So I want you guys to look at the number on here under the unfortunate truth, 70%. And just internalize this for a second. That's the unemployment rate of the blind and vision impaired community all the time. That's when the economy is good, when the economy is bad, when the economy is stagnant. There's always an unemployment rate. Even now, after COVID, I know you go around, you hear about a lot of companies hiring right now, they can't find employees. You have restaurants can't even stay open all night because they can't get people to come work different shifts, so they have to close early during the day. And they still don't get a blind and vision impaired community a chance. And I think that's wrong because they missed an untapped market that basically help they expand their company and keep the companies open and things like that. Also, when we get jobs, there's still some type of discrimination when we get the jobs. Majority of blind and vision impaired, when they get jobs, you get hired in entry-level positions and never get a chance to grow. You have people come in after us, jump over us to get new jobs, move up in the company, and even sometimes those same individuals that started after you become your boss. And that happened to me. And that it gets frustrating. And what I noticed is that there's people advocating for us, but there's not enough people actually advocating, putting up a good fight that we need to put up for the blind and vision impaired community in the workplace. So this is where I decided to write my book, Leading Blind Without Vision, The Benefits of Hiring a Blind and Vision Impaired. Now, let me go back. So I'm in college, and I didn't think about writing a book back then. It never crossed my mind. And your freshman year in college, you take English comp. At the University of Akron, it's like 111, English 1 some campus, whatever it may be. And I was taking this English class. And our professor gave us an assignment. We had to write an entertainment paper where we could write about anything we wanted to. And early that semester, me and a couple of my friends, we decided we were going to take a road trip to Virginia Beach. It was the Black Greek Beach Party. So we drove from Akron, Ohio to Virginia Beach, and we stopped in DC to pick up some of our childhood friends on the way. We had a great time. It was probably one of the best trips I had with my friends in college and things like that. So I wrote about that trip. And so one day I was in class and the professor, and I never forget, Dr. Ziegler was his name. He said, "Welby, I need you to stay after class for a little bit when we get done after class." And so I'm thinking like, oh my God, did I plagiarize something? I said, I wrote in, that thing was about me. I hope I didn't, what could he want me for? So I stayed after class and he asked me, he said, "What's your major?" And at the time it was still computer science. I said, "Computer science." He said, "Oh my goodness. Do you ever think about being a writer?" I said, "No, never crossed my mind." "Oh, you should consider it. You write very well." I said, "Nah, I don't think I want to be a writer." And I think I missed my calling because I should have majored in journalism. I should have been a writer because I love it now. So fast forward now, I wrote my book and I love it. And how I got to write my book is my girlfriend, now fiance, Angela, she told me about her cousin and her friend who's going through this program through Georgetown University. It's called the Creators Institute. And she sent me a link and said, "Hey, you should apply for this. You can write your book. I'm gonna apply too." I was like, okay. And I'm thinking like, with my vision impairment, this is not gonna work out. I'm gonna be able to keep up. But I applied anyway. So lo and behold, I get set with an interview with a professor, Professor Coster from Georgetown University. So I'm telling me I want to write a book about me being blind and vision impaired. He said, "Oh, okay." So he gave me an assignment. He said, "I want you to go through and online and find 25 people that are blind and vision impaired that are doing things that are successful in life." I was okay. And I did that. Actually, that's how I found Dr. Mona McCarroll. Yeah,
I didn't know that story.
yeah, she was on a podcast, and when she's over in London, when she shut London down on the Louvre. But so I did that. I did that assignment, and so through the process, what makes the program so good? You write in a cohort, so you write with other people. Because the myth is that if you write alone, you probably never finish a book. But if you write as a community, you're more likely to finish a book. So you write in a community. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a program called Quip. So we always use Quip. We log in, everything is like that. And you meet for class once a week on Zoom. And so by the third week, you start meeting with your first editor, which is a DE, which is called a distributing editor. And my editor was Joanne, and so she had a disability as well. I'm glad it partners us together with that because she could understand some things I would be talking about, so it helped me more with my book, which was great. So Joanne let me write for about 3 weeks. So I'm writing these different stories about my life. I'm turning them in. She edited them and things like that. Then she said, "Well, I got a question for you." I said, "Yes, yes." "So you're writing a memoir, right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm writing a memoir." She said, "Okay." She said, "Let me ask you another question. Who's gonna buy your book besides your family, your friends, and people in Akron, Ohio?" And I said to myself, I said, "What?" I said, "What you mean?" She said, normally people write memoirs are people who already have a following, like celebrities, politicians, athletes, things like that. Because they already got a following, people already know them. Nobody knows you. Like, I said, "She's trying to stop me from writing my book. She's trying to shut me down." And so she said, "Once you write a book to educate the blind and visually impaired community on how to get a job." And I sat there and thought about it for a moment. And I said, "Well, Joanne, you have disability like I do. We get that training through life skill training. We already got that type of training." I said, "To me, the people that want to work already have those skills." And so what I did, I said, I'm gonna flip it. "What you mean?" "I'm gonna write a book to educate business executives, HR professionals, and business owners on the benefits of hiring a blind and visually impaired community." She said, "Well, nobody ever done that. It's gonna be hard." I said, "That's why I need to do it." And that's what I did. So that led me to my book, Leading Blind Without Vision. And basically, my mission is basically to spread awareness about the workplace discrimination for people with disabilities, especially those who are blind and vision impaired. And I want to help the business world identify the benefits of hiring individuals that are blind and vision impaired. And also in my book, I outline how they create a brand of inclusivity in their workplace, have an inclusive workplace society. So this is what I found out. This is what employers believe. This is the employer's point of view. This is what they believe. They believe that there are many jobs that we can do, which is not true. Anybody who's blind and vision impaired can pretty much do any job that requires a computer, just because of the accessibility technology that's available for them. And also, every computer, every operating system has to have accessibility technology built into it. But the problem is, a lot of companies are not accessing this accessibility technology. Also, employers think that it's too expensive to accommodate this population. Like I said, it's really not, because they already pretty much have the technology built in. And they believe that individuals who are blind and vision impaired are more prone to accidents. And that's not true either, because we had to go through life skill training to navigate on a daily basis. And I got a quote from Emilio Lewis. He's the executive director for the American Federation for the Blind. He said a quote one day. He said, "What people understand is individuals who are blind and vision impaired, we have to learn how to navigate through a world that's not set up for us. So we're great problem solvers. So that's what we have to do. And that also prevents us from being accident prone because of the life skill trainings that we have as a community." So here's the truth. The truth of the matter is, with the assistive technology that we have today, for example, like braille display, screen readers, this helps individuals from the blind and vision impaired community to use modern day technology. We're more focused and motivated, but we have to prove ourselves on a daily basis to be successful in the workplace, because somebody's always looking over our shoulder saying we can't do the job. We always got to be on our best point. Also, we're likely to be more resourceful, but we have to learn to do a lot with very little. And what companies don't realize, if you hire somebody from the blind and vision impaired community, we're going to bring a different perspective to make you be more productive or have more services than your competition may have. You know, I got there, we're perceptive employees. So what that means, we're great problem solvers. Like I said, we have to problem solve on a daily basis just to survive on a daily basis. Just for me to get from my house to my job when I was riding a bus, that's a problem solved every day. Because if I miss the bus, I can't come home and get in my car and go to work. So I have to problem solve that to make sure I get there. And also the truth is, if the company decides to onboard this population to the workplace, they're gonna come across as a compassionate organization. So, and to prove my point, everybody's familiar with Walgreens. So there's a Walgreens study that came out. And what happened with this study, the CEO at the time, his son had a disability. So he decided he wanted to start hiring individuals with mental and physical disabilities. And he wanted to be intentional about it. So they built a distribution center in South Carolina that was set up to be accessible for individuals with mental and physical disabilities. And they also hired veterans. And also they hired non-disabled individuals as well. And also what they did, but they held individuals with disabilities to the same standards as they did the non-disabled employees. So they didn't give them no special treatment for performance. And what they found out when they did this study, that the workers with disabilities were just as effective workers as those with non-disabilities. The employees with disabilities stayed employed longer with the organization. Attendance decreased. They came to work like they should and on time. And here's a key factor. Safety incidents dropped by 40% by hiring this population. And the cost to accommodate with new technology was a minimal expense. All right, so I'm gonna close with this. I just want you to put this in your mind. The key, so this doesn't repeat itself, and so we can advance on helping this population be successful in the workplace and get employment, is that we know the past history. So I challenge everyone to learn the discrimination and the history that individuals who are blind and vision impaired, even those with any other type of disability, what you go through, and because the journey is not over. Create a plan of inclusivity in the workplace that includes individuals from the blind and vision impaired community. And if you adapt the ADA employment guidelines into your workplace philosophy, it can prevent discrimination and create a brand of inclusivity. And one thing you can do, and if you organizations can do, is partner with your Bureau of Service for the Vision Impaired, because one thing about it, they're gonna make sure you're ADA compliant, and they also will give you skilled workers who are blind and vision impaired that can actually do the job. And what they do is they cut down your costs for recruiting, and you have to worry about training someone, because they can come in and help you train an employee. They can provide, if he needs some type of special equipment or her special equipment, they can help you get that. And sometimes they'll even pay for it for that individual to get the job. I know I said a lot. I might have talked a little fast, but I apologize. I want to thank you guys for giving me time. Let me speak to you guys. And this is my contact information. My email address is broaddusbizsoul@gmail.com. And that's BROADDUSBIZSOL, the @ symbol, GMAIL.com. And my work phone number is, my office phone number is 234-303-1506. And my website is broaddusbizsoul.com. And that's BROADDUSBIZSOL.com. And I'm gonna unshare my screen and show my face. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, anybody got any questions, anything?
Thank you so much, Welby, for sharing. I'm definitely sure that, like you said, it's not just your family or friends who are going to buy this book. It's all of us who are influenced here today. And I'm sure you must take pride in the fact that you created a vision and then put it into words and just put it out here in the world for all of us to get influenced by it and make a change. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for sharing with us your journey, a very commendable journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And I'm sure our audience has a few questions for you. Would you mind taking a few questions?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so if anyone has any questions, yeah.
Yeah, I found that Walgreens study that you cited very interesting, specifically the decreased number of accidents and safety incidents. Do you have any speculations on what might have caused that? Do you think it was maybe a better safety culture, or increased diligence around just avoiding accidents? I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that decreased rate of workplace accidents.
So, and anybody who's blind and vision impaired, probably anybody with a disability, but I only speak for the blind and vision impaired community. For example, when I was in high school, I was registered with DSVI, and they sent me to Columbus, Ohio for 2 weeks. And what we do, you get accessibility training. I learned how to cross the street, you learn how to catch the bus, they teach you how to be independent. And I think that's what plays a part. And Mona probably can test this, you probably went through the same type of stuff too, where they teach us how to do these things, and we're always safety cautious first, and things like that. So I think that plays a part in that, just the training we had.
And I don't know, I can speak for me being blind in my kitchen. I'm not working in a physical lab, for example, but I like things to be processes are important. So making sure that the cup is always at the same place, kind of thing. Making sure I don't know, like everything having a routine and a process to it, I think helps. And being cognizant that you're working with different types of people, I think might make you aware of how you pass on the next step to the next person.
And the key word, you heard she said routine. I'm routine origin as well. And that's one of the reasons why I have a routine all the time. Because sometimes if I get off my path, like with my vision, I can see, but with my left eye, sometimes I bump into walls, or if I put something in the same place, I'll be searching, like my keys, for example. If I don't set my keys on my kitchen table, or remember I said it, I'll be searching all around my house trying to find my keys.
Yeah, me too, Welby.
And they be
And like
sitting right there, and I done tore my house up like an hour. And that happens all the time with me when I do those type of things.
Also, like I've lived with different people, like, and I'm always saying that you have to return things back to where they are. You can't just like leave a knife on the counter. I'm not gonna see it,
Yep.
which means I can accidentally like.
Right, I understand. Great question, thank you.
I was impressed by how you turned all of these negative, I guess, expectations of you and turn that into motivation. You can only do that for so long. That if you get enough negative feedback, then you start to internalize it. Do you have any tips for how to channel it to positive energy? Because it seems like you did that quite often. People tell you you can't do it, and you just decide you want to prove them wrong. But I think there's a balance point, right? If you're told too often, then you just say, oh, I can't do it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I did share. So as a kid, I got picked on so much about my vision impairment that I become numb to the negativity, I guess. And what happens then, and also as a kid, I had to be mature as a blind vision impaired person, because I had to always be in reality of what I can do, because some things that I might want to do just to do it because somebody else is doing it, I might have killed myself trying to do it because I can't see. So I really had to learn what I can do and what I can't do, and never put myself in a position to do something that I know I cannot do. Now there's things I've done, I wasn't sure, and I did try. One is baseball, but but what I learned over the years, people always gonna have something to say. People always try to put you down to make themselves look good, or people may just not think you can do something. But as long as I knew what I'm capable of doing, I always know I can do it, and I feel comfortable in expressing to my other people that I can do this. You just need to give me a chance. And so I never let it beat me down, because I got in tune to know myself and know what I'm capable of doing. So it never stopped me from being discouraged from trying something that I know I can do. And I believe I truly can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just want to say, like, I'm not visually impaired, but like as a kid with a disability, I just like really admire your story, and I like heavily resonate with like people will always tell you what you can and can't do, and you just have to be like, yeah, take it with a grain of salt and go forward. And I think it's like very inspiring, and like definitely will use your experiences as I go in my college career.
Thank you. And what helped me out a lot, I didn't share it. My mom and my grandmother, my father's mom, they instilled in me that they wouldn't allow me to use that my vision impairment define me. They always told me your vision impairment is a part of you, but that doesn't make you. You make yourself. You just have to be somebody's vision impaired. And what they meant by that is that you do what you think you can do, as long as you're honest with yourself. And my mom would not coddle me. When I said, well, Mom, I can't see it. She said, you need to try to figure that out. And her thing was, I'm not always gonna be here. So what you gonna do when I'm not here? And so that helped me out a lot, to be independent and be strong-minded and really know myself and be true to myself, no matter what anybody says.
Mm-hmm. That's my dad.
Yeah. We all got one, don't we, Mona?
Yeah.
So, Welby, I had a question for you.
Sure.
Did you keep in mind any target audience while writing the book? And did you do you think that it reached the target audience, or was it like you were surprised as to who all actually got influenced by it?
Yes. So my target audience initially it was HR professionals first, business executives and business owners, and I am getting to them. I've joined a lot of groups on especially on LinkedIn, HR professional groups. Actually, I was asked by SHRM, which is the Society of Human Resource Management, for the convention last year to create a virtual presentation seminar that the tickets is all going to go through, and I did that. But also, I guess my other audience is individuals with disabilities, especially those who are blind and vision impaired, because I share stories of other individuals who are blind and vision impaired in my book, who have significant stories and experiences that they overcame. You guys, the professor is one of them. I mean, I don't know if you guys read the book. She's in there a few times. I know she ever told you guys the stories. I'm not. She can say she wants to.
No.
Or get the book. But those type of stories are inspiration for other individuals with blind and vision impaired. And I had my cousin's supervisor, her son is vision impaired. And that's why she bought the book, to share with him the success story that's in the book.
Thank you. And what is the way we can access your book? Can you tell our audience what are the different ways we can access your book?
So pretty much any online platform that sells books, Amazon, Walmart, B&M. I just saw this at Target. Has it on. Yeah. And or you can get off my website too.
So yeah, I think we have time for one more question, one or two questions if anyone wants to ask anything, or can we wrap up the event? Sure, Welby. So we do believe that once an allied member or once an allied speaker, you're always going to be an ally with us. So please feel free to join us. Yeah. So please feel free to join us every Friday for our events this semester.
Okay.
We still have 2 more events left. And our next week's event is going to be by our guest speaker, Carl Reed. He's a senior vice provost and a chief inclusion officer at Northeastern. He'll be enlightening us about how to build an inclusive and diverse community. So it's going to take place on Zoom as well. I'll be sharing the links on our Allied NU official page, as well as it's going to happen in person in this room. So all of you, please feel free to come here again. And before I conclude the event, I just happened to write a short poem while talking to Welby today. So I just wanted to write about a book. So books are the plane and the train and the road. They are the destination and the journey. They are home. They are the change you want to see, an advisor. They are a companion in a world where you are alone. So yeah, so let me conclude by thanking our guest of honor, Welby. Thank you, Welby, for taking time off and being present here with us today. Let me thank our allied directors, Dr. Mona and Dr. Sandra, for always being present and being our constants, and all of you who are always there and support us through. It would only go so far without all of you. And thank you, Valerie, for assisting us today. And this is your host / your project manager signing off. Have a wonderful day, all of you.
Remember, the conversation does not end here. Let's carry the knowledge and inspiration we've gained today forward into our lives, our communities, and our work. Together, we can create a world that is more inclusive, more compassionate, and more accepting for everyone, regardless of their abilities. Stay connected by subscribing to our YouTube channel, The Allied Project. Also follow us on our social media, Allied_NEU. We have many more enlightening events and discussions lined up, and we'd love to have you subscribe to our newsletters by contacting us on allied@northeastern.edu. Thank you once again for your participation and support. Until next time, take care, stay inspired, and let's continue working towards a more inclusive world. Goodbye, and see you again.